Hey guys, today we're taking a journey back into the 1980s and 1990s to compare the housing market my very early Gen X parents faced when buying their homes on Long Island to the challenges Millennials and Gen Z faces today. And to make it more personal, I brought a special guest, my dad. We'll cover key factors like home prices, wages, interest rates, and the overall cost of living to see just how things have changed and what lessons we can learn. For those of you who don't know me, ciao amici, I'm Hackrobat, an Italian-American aerialist located in New York, here to help you save time and money. From quick tips to budget hacks, let's make life easier and keep your wallet full. So Dad, share a little about yourself.
My name is Nunzio. I came in this country when I was 17 years old. It wasn't easy in those days to buy a house, but with a little effort, managed me and my wife. We had a simple job, construction company, and my wife was a cashier. And our first house, we put down $15,000 with the help of my boss. And we bought the house and we made a sacrifice, but we did it. It was easier because, in those days, interest was low, it was easier to pay, taxes are lower, and we managed.
Can you share a little bit about your and Mom's first experience while buying a home?
I bought my first house, which was $150,000, bought it in 1986. The interest rates was 10% then. The mortgage was $1,200. That covered taxes and insurance and the loan. My second house I bought in 1996 for $185,000. I put down 5%. The interest was 12%. The mortgage was $1,600, which also included taxes and insurance. Both houses were 30 years fixed loan.
So at the time, what was your income and what was Mom's income?
My income was $20,000 and my wife was $12,000.
How do you feel about the neighborhood where your house is located?
It was a good area and it still is a good area.
Did you think it was expensive back then?
To me it was, but it was easy to pay the mortgage because I only had to work 2 weeks.
So what you're saying, not including your wife or my mom's pay, you could pay your entire mortgage off in the 80s and the 90s in 2 weeks or with 50% of your income?
Yes, we could.
Did you have to make any sacrifices to save up for a down payment?
Not as many sacrifices as I needed to with my first time house. I already had the money to put down. If you had a pulse, you could get a mortgage then. It was much easier.
After purchasing the house, did you ever struggle financially?
No, even though I wasn't making a lot of money, I wasn't struggling.
How long did it take you to pay off the house?
The mortgage was for 30 years, and I paid it off in 6 years. Otherwise, I would pay more in interest, and the house would cost me triple of the original price. But also, I did all the repair myself. That helped a lot.
What was the average home price in your area when you purchased your second house?
The average price in that area was about $150,000 to $200,000 at that time.
So I did some digging. While specific numbers vary depending on the year and exact location, the median home price for a single family home in Long Island in the early 1990s was approximately $150,000 to $300,000. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $350,000 to $700,000 today. The average cost of a home was lower at about $113,000, or around $265,000 adjusted for inflation. The average interest rate for a 30-year fixed loan in Long Island and the US was about 8.4%. So you were actually paying more in interest, likely because you put less down and because, well, you were poor. Dad, did you know that the average income in the early 1990s was $30,000 to $40,000 per year, or $2,500 or $3,333 before taxes? You and Mom were making $32,000 per year, or $2,667 per week. What this means as of yesterday, if you bought a $200,000 home, With a 10% down payment and 9% interest rate, your monthly 30-year mortgage would have been around $1,450, excluding taxes and insurance, so only the principal and the interest. Let's fast forward a little bit to today. Last year, the median home price in Long Island reached $700,000. In the United States, it was approximately $420,000, marking a significant increase from the previous years. In terms of interest rates now, the average interest rate for a 30-year fixed loan in Long Island and in the US is about 6.67%, so lower than in the 90s. Let's speak a little bit more about the average income and cost of living stats for today. Long Island, which includes Nassau and Suffolk counties, as well as parts of Queens and Brooklyn, is known for its high income levels. In Nassau County, the median average income is about $137,000 per year, while in Suffolk County, it's around $122,000. So $122,000 to $137,000, or $10,000 to about $11,500 per week before taxes. So what this means today, with a 10% down payment and a 6.67% interest rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage, your monthly mortgage payment, not including insurance or taxes, would be approximately $4,052. Key comparisons and lessons. So why can't millennials and Gen Z afford housing? Let's break it down. If we stick to the 10% down payment and 30-year fixed interest rates, we can start with a basic rule and compare apples to apples. According to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, the general guideline is that no more than 30% of a household income should go towards housing costs. This includes mortgage, taxes, insurance, and more. So if you're making $130,000 per year, according to this guideline, you should aim to pay no more than $3,800 per month for your home. This means at this salary, you either need to put more money up front to lower the monthly payment or earn more than $130,000 per year in order to comfortably afford to live in Long Island. But wait, we're not done. Long Island property taxes are notoriously high, often adding an extra $1,000 to $2,000 per month to the total cost of home ownership. How much are property taxes in your area? We'd love to know. This is a challenge not just for Long Island, but for many tax areas across the country, such as parts of New Jersey, California, and the Northeast in general. Here's another challenge, not only just affecting Long Island, but the entire country: inventory. The number of homes available in the US has plummeted. The National Association of Realtors reported that the inventory on homes across the market has reached historical lows, down over 50% since 2019. In fact, in the last quarter of 2024, only about 3,200 homes were available on Long Island. And nationally, some markets have seen a decline in inventory by as much as 30% year over year. This is the lowest inventory since 2003. With fewer homes available, naturally prices rise, and this tight market makes finding affordable homes even tougher. Coupled with the low inventory, there's also a rising demand. And not just in Long Island, but across the US in many urban and suburban areas. Home buyers are facing multiple offers, competitive bidding wars, and escalating home prices. The pandemic only fueled this demand as many people sought more space and moved to more suburban areas, which in turn further drove the prices up. Nationally, the average home price in the US reached a record high of about $400,000 in 2023. As a result, millennials and first-time buyers are finding themselves locked out of home ownership due to increased competition and skyrocketing prices. Additionally, even with interest rates hovering at about 6.67% for a 30-year fixed mortgage, the monthly payments are still much higher than many can afford based on rising home prices. A $700,000 home with a 10% down payment and a 6.7% interest rate translates to a monthly mortgage payment of about $4,300 a month. Let's talk about higher student loan debt and stricter lending. On top of that, many Gen Z and millennials are still facing the burden of student loan debt, which weighs heavily on their ability to save for a down payment or even secure a loan. Additionally, the stricter lending standards put in place after the 2008 financial crisis are making it harder for potential buyers to qualify for loans. Impact of technology and remote working on Long Island's housing market. The way we work has dramatically changed over the years. Back in the 1980s and 1990s, most people commuted to their jobs, often into Manhattan or other nearby hubs. But today, thanks to advancements in technology and the rise of remote work, the housing market has been shaped in surprising ways, especially here in Long Island. The proliferation of high-speed internet and collaboration tools like Zoom and Slack has made remote working viable for millions of people, allowing many to relocate to suburban or rural areas where homes are more affordable. Increased demand for space. Home buyers now prioritize extra bedrooms or home offices over proximity to their workspace. A house with a dedicated workspace is now a must-have for many buyers on Long Island, especially those who are working full-time remotely or in hybrid work environments. Technology-driven real estate searches. The rise of websites like Zillow and Redfin and online property tours has made it easier to buy homes in areas people would otherwise not have considered before. This has made competition for Long Island and homes everywhere fiercer, as non-local buyers can easily browse and bid on homes from anywhere. A little bit about housing affordability. The increased demand for homes has caused houses to skyrocket, leaving many local residents to struggle to compete with wealthier buyers from other regions. Many Long Island locals feel priced out of their own neighborhoods, as remote workers from New York City or even other states bid for homes here. Traffic and infrastructure strain. While remote work reduces commuting, not everyone works remotely full-time. Long Island's infrastructure still faces strain from hybrid workers traveling to the city. Even as fewer people commute every day, roads and public transportation still face heavy use, adding to the stress on local infrastructure. Let's hear a little bit about my dad's takeaway and his advice.
Compared to the standards of today, in the same standards that we applied in the 90s, we can never afford a house. I will need to rent. Also, I never rented in my life and I never wanted to.
Any advice specifically to millennials and Gen Zs?
Just work hard and save a little bit of money you can. Pick up an extra job or so on the weekend. I did that too. My second house was purchased on $185,000. Now it's worth around $1 million. If you can, save up as much as you can, because houses, in my experience, they will always go up. If you keep renting, you've been throwing your money away. The mentality back then was different than today. Back then, it was a house. No one ever rented. Now people don't mind paying rent, have a doorman, have a pool in your building. You're likely not going to be able to purchase a house, the house of your dream, and you will keep struggling financially.
I get what you're saying. However, you do need a lot more money now. I do also feel that you need at least two people contributing, even if one of you makes over six figures every year. 2 years ago, I was approved for a $650,000 loan here in Long Island, and I was looking for a multifamily house to purchase. My plan was simple. Buy a house, rent half of it, and let the tenants pay for the mortgage. I even put some offers down on a few properties, but here's the thing. I realized I would be entirely depending on my tenants to pay my bills. I could have bought the house, sure, but if there was a major repair needed, or if a tenant decided not to pay rent, which on Long Island can take up to 8 months to resolve, I'd be financially screwed. Not to mention, being a landlord is a huge responsibility. I would have felt like I was working for the house, rather than the other way around. In the end, I decided to save up at least 40% before purchasing a home here, or buy somewhere else, and take on the role of a landlord. It's tough to say I want to move because this is my home and half of my family live here. I love New York. I have the beach nearby, the woods, and of course, the high energy of New York City. It's not easy to leave. But right now, I feel priced out and don't want to be like a slave to my house. I just hope things change one day. Today's buyers can possibly overcome challenges in the housing market through several strategies. Smart saving. By adopting a structured savings plan, buyers can set aside funds consistently. Creating a budget, cutting unnecessary expenses, and focusing on high priority savings goals can help buyers accumulate the necessary down payment or emergency funds. High yield savings accounts. Use investing opportunities like opening up a high yield savings account allows buyers to earn more interest on their savings compared to traditional accounts. This helps accelerate the growth of their down payment or investment funds, making it easier to secure a home. Exploring different regions. Expanding the search beyond high demand areas can open up more affordable housing options. Buyers who are flexible about location may find better deals or more favorable market conditions in less competitive regions. While the housing market has evolved, one thing remains the same. Buying a home is an incredibly important, life-changing decision. Looking back about how things were in the 90s in comparison to today, I can't help reflect on your experience and how I'm approaching it myself. Maybe it's about saving more, exploring new options, or even rethinking what we want in a home. The important thing is to stay flexible and keep working toward what you want, no matter how long it takes. Thanks for being here, Dad. Anything else you'd like to say?
Yes, all we said is true. But my advice is you better start, and also you better be handy.
Good advice. Do you guys think that millennials and Gen Zs will ever be able to afford homes? Let me know in the comments.